Okay, so everything seems fine apparently. Hmm. There's quite a difference in the color choice for each sprite. I mean, it definitely can like work on rebalancing all the colors altogether if you have a complete like collection of sprites. Try to harmonize all the colors all together to have a coherent feeling or feel. That said, I'm having a kind of an itch right now. I feel like I want to maybe see if I like let's add more colors to this VV sprite, right? I think I'm gonna take this VV and try to make it more colorful, right? Just for fun. Like nothing serious or anything. Like let's see how far we can go, like if we add some color and try to make it more stylized. Like I have to open some references of VV. Just because I kind of forgot a little bit, like his color scheme. I spent too much time looking at these sprites. I forgot what it looks like IRL. All right, so let's try something basic. Let's try to add like two or three colors. Let's add, for example, these reds and the greens for his pants. Hmm. Let's go with this red for a second and see how it looks like. much more easier to recognize, right? Just because of one color. You can also use the other colors for shading. Like we can try something like this. That was a misclick, but whatever. I intended to do this, but I missed. I misclicked. Whatever. Much easier to appreciate, right? Sometimes you have to overdo stuff just to see how far you can push stylistically. Like, is that even a word? Like, I don't know. A combination of this dark brownish red and this more like beige or orange, desaturated orange, works alright with the shoes, but not exactly with the wand because the texture is different. The difference between these two colors in terms of brightness is pretty pronounced, so it feels like compared to this area that's in the shade, the amount of light that is being reflected is a lot, right? Which is a property of smooth surfaces. You know, like shiny surfaces, basically the reason they are shiny is because they are smooth. So they reflect a lot of light in a very defined direction as opposed to rough surfaces. Because rough for these surfaces, when the light hits them and is reflected, because the surface is not smooth, it's reflected in so many different directions, which makes a very small amount of that light to be reflected toward our eyes, right? Which is why for rough surfaces you don't see any area that is that bright or that shiny or that like that reflects a big a good amount of light in your direction. It's scattered everywhere and it loses its power. Maybe even it keeps hitting, you know, the from a microscopical scales keep hitting like itself. Like there are all these small ups and downs on that surface, so that like the light keeps hitting left and right, left and right, left, right before being reflected toward toward us, which causes that light to lose a lot of its energy and lose a lot of its brightness, etc. So just because you could use this color to draw a highlight on a part of the like an object or something, doesn't mean you can use that same color for a different object, right? Because it feels weird. It doesn't feel like a wand. It doesn't feel like a tree. It feels like weird, random, shiny squares or spots. It feels like there's this gloss or something. Or like I don't know. It feels kind of like drops of honey, right? Like it's very weird, especially combined with the black outline. Like stylistically, this doesn't. Visually, this doesn't look very correct. I don't know if that's the way to describe it. It's good to test stuff though, because that's basically how you learn. Like, don't rely on the theory before trying, especially when experimenting with stuff like art and drawing and stuff. It's alright. It might logically sound incorrect at first, but there are too many variables, and sometimes some of these variables don't uh, aren't brought to your attention unless you actually look at them. Sometimes some of these details can actually be good ideas. slightly on the bluish side. This looks like some snow or something. Okay, let's change the hue of this to something yellower. Still on the greener side. But it's not like there's a lot of space for the jacket to be shaded like this. The blacks are definitely gonna need to be reduced. Let's try to work on that. Hmm. So the trick for outlining is to keep the blacks for the very, very important to define areas, right? Like it's your way of saying, hey, I need you to look at and notice and identify this specific spot right? I want you to understand what it is. This is uh, like I want you to understand that this area is on the front, like on a different plane than this area. This area is behind you, right? Like I want you to know that it's different, right? I'm definitely underthinking my actions right now. I'm acting before even I understand what I'm doing. Well, basically because it's very easy to do to control Z your way but out of there. And I'm actually curious. I want to know how these wrong decisions, where they're gonna lead me, right? See, like right there, that's definitely wrong. I mean, it kind of softened the character. He's definitely much softer, but I like to keep some black outlines for the external area of the character. And colored outline for the inner elements, let's say, of the whatever the subject I'm drawing. Yeah, the color balance is definitely off in some areas because I didn't think this through. I just like aimed for the Game Boy Color style when I did this. I didn't plan to go this far and try to add more colors to it. Also, it looks really nice. Not gonna lie. There's this black area here that is definitely annoying. I don't know if this makes it better. Logically, it should be more on the bright side of the character because this should be like in the front door does more likely than covering this area. This area should be exposed to the light. Maybe under his hand like this. This should be shaded probably. I could use some black too. Why is this black? Why is this all any of this black? Hmm. I'm actually shading without thinking right now, so definitely gonna make some mistakes. Sorry for that. Maybe I don't know why I'm even apologizing for. Well, basically the staff needs its own colors, like because it's very different texture, and I can't exactly use the colors I'm using for the rest of the sprite because this is a shiny surface. This is not exactly a shiny surface, but I kinda made it work by using these colors. Although some spots are kinda off, like what even is this? Mm, and now picking colors directly from the reference doesn't work. It always ends up in a totally different result. Like we can give it a try. You're gonna see. Like I've done that before. The setting is completely different. It rarely works. I mean, the next darker color is basically black. I don't know, maybe it's even darker than the black that I am using, so that's not it. Maybe I stick with this one. Well, what do you know? For some reason, it looks right. Although I had to use very, I had to increase the number of colors pretty drastically. How is this? Does this look good actually? I don't know. I think it does. I think it does. There's this black area. I forgot what this is supposed to be. Uh, it does look good, right? Should I make him cast Blizzaga or Sandaga? This ended up being actually a really, really good process. I didn't think it through at first. Like, I looked at this game's art style and I was like, I want to make more other characters in this style because I really love that game and how it managed to communicate visual information about the characters from the show within such strict restrictions, and I loved it. Like the work they've done on the game is just phenomenal. I mean, pretty much in any. There are many games that had a lot of amazing work put into making visuals look really good within these restrictions, especially in the 8-bit era. But then again, like once you manage to fit your subject within restrictions and then you try to color it, like you give yourself some more freedom, you end up with something insanely good looking. Yeah, try to emphasize the roundedness of his shoes. It's definitely like an important trait for Vivi. They look a little bit too round for, in my opinion, right now. Maybe do something like this. But isn't it? It's a little too big now. What about now? Now it feels slightly better. I think the changes I did for this area fixed it too. This feels so good to look at. I don't know for you, but for me it's just amazing. Like emphasize the fact that this is on the back side of maybe overdid it a little. And I know it might feel like these are all just details, like, come on, just move on to something else. But these very small changes stack like 1 pixel at a time. And I'm actually worth taking the time to like taking breaks and then coming back and looking at it and feeling if there's even a little bit something that's a little bit off. Because if we think about it, like for example, from the perspective of actually trying to make a game, the players are gonna look at that sprite for like tens of hours, right? And if every time they actually notice something that's off, might create this tension that eventually they don't want to go back and pick up the game. I'm a firm believer that when it comes to making game, it's better to focus to make something that is very minimalistic, but in which you invested thousands of hours perfecting every little single detail. Like it may that's what make the that's what makes the kind of games that leave the kind of legacy that people keep talking about it for decades afterwards. And like eventually like something new might become the new trend or whatever. But these things are just momentary bursts of hype and like excitement, and people go back to that thing that's rich in texture and like that thing that is timeless. This is the kind of thing that ages well, right? I don't know about you guys, but I really love the way this turns out to be. That's unnecessary. I don't want to grab the attention towards the hat a lot. Like mostly this is where you want the character to focus. From a gameplay perspective, what matters is where the character is looking and their actions in this case for Vivi, it's basically his hands because he uses his hands to move his stuff around, and like that's basically what gives us the information about him about to casting like a spell or whatever. And the eyes are already like contrasting enough, like using the contrasting color because these are yellow and the background is black. Like it's a very different, it's a very strong contrast. So that does the job regarding where he's looking. For this area, like you see, is supercharged detail. So that also, in a way, um, makes us want to look at this area to try to understand what is going on. What is this? What are these squares? What's this red stuff? What's this bright stuff here? What are these black lines? What is it trying to say? See, like we intentionally, we unintentionally, we unconsciously look there and try to figure out what is going on here visually. So that automatically does the job in redirecting the attention of us, the player, the viewer, whatever, toward these elements that are of utmost importance, right? And in my opinion, this makes this actually a success. I don't see how I can improve this more than this. Maybe just work around these shadows. That may be a little too much. Yeah, this feels right. Yeah, this is definitely all right. And I like the way this turned out. You know, this feels like it's communicating a curved shape, and Vivi actually it's something about him that he's a very powerful dark mage. His personality is the complete opposite. Like he's kind of like lacking confidence, and he always needs Zidane like to tell him what to do and to give him like the determination he needs. He always questioning himself, questioning everything. Um, like his magic is extremely powerful, but his personality is extremely gentle, and he appreciates everything that is uh, life related, and he has a very gentle nature. So these curved shapes, although I know it's made of squares, and but when you zoom out it feels curved, right? So these shapes communicate or go line in line with his personality as being someone who's very warm and gentle and like something you want to be around, right? As opposed to his magic. Yes, he has very powerful magic, but that's definitely not who he is. wonder if I should keep going in the 8-bit style. Try to make more character in this style of this Dragon Ball Z game. Did I try to animate him? I think that if I decide to animate him, it would be better to use the one of these sprites to focus on the animation. And once the animation is done, I apply these, like this color scheme. Use these colors to recolor the animated frames. Ooh, that made the color and the character pop out so much more. Wow, that is just so good to look at. think I'm on the verge of starting to mess things up. I'm just trying to make the shadows and highlights make sense here. Yeah, I think this is right. Uh, Sometimes I feel my way around, and sadly, I can't exactly explain why I did that. Basically, I just try to imagine the light coming from here, and as it hit the surface, based on the shape of the surface, where should the light be reflected towards? Like, is it should it be reflected towards us, or should it be reflected towards another, like another direction? Like, for example, in this direction, or I don't know. This a little bit too bright. I don't think so. Guess I could use some purple. And I made the contrast a little bit too obvious, too strong between these two colors. Then again, I don't have to fix everything right now. Sometimes it's good to take a little break and look elsewhere for a while. Sometimes that's all you need. Yeah, I give this area a little bit too much detail and it made me lose my what's it called? Uh, my anchor, my visual anchor. Yeah, this feels slightly better. Make this a little bit more red and should I darken this a little bit? A bit too dark. what I did here is copied the result of whatever we arrived to, and then went back to see how many things I have changed and if I changed the correct things or not, or if I just was ruining whatever I drew. So basically, the main difference right now is the use of black in this area here, and this color, whatever it is more saturated in here, and I don't know which is better. I feel like this one feels better because it's like, as I explained earlier, the focus is around the staff and the hands and the eyes. For this one, there's a little bit more detail almost everywhere else, like especially the hat and stuff. And because of the color adjustments, even like the boots now have slightly more contrast. Like because we use this color in many like spots in the sprite, it changed the contrast in these spots too. I feel like this one is more friendly. And therefore more reflective of the Vivi's personality, right? Maybe if I just use some of these, like, right? This feels relatively good. Like, it adds a little bit contrast to this area, but like enough to balance the whole thing, right? It's not like it doesn't create the clutter of this one. I don't know, I'm gonna keep both. I'm gonna keep this one as the most successful version. I think this one is the best version I got. Alright, I think I'm gonna end it here for now. I don't know when I might go live again. Depends on whenever the inspiration hits me. Like, I was literally intending to draw another 8-bit sprite right now. Like earlier. And ended up doing something completely different. Anyway. For anyone who watches this, I hope you find this valuable in any way, and I'll see you next time.